Welcome back to Live With a Classic, and well, it's a goodbye. It's always a little sad with a goodbye, and this time it's time to say goodbye to my Range Rover P38. I absolutely love this car, which is why it's kind of difficult to say goodbye, but sometimes you have to. And that is one of the natures of YouTube. Cars sometimes need to come and go in order for content. And I also do this for a living. I run my shop for a living. I'm definitely not made of money, and I can't keep everything. I bought this Range Rover back in October by a sight unseen, about a 6-hour drive from home. Drove it back home. It was perfect. And the next day it broke down. Ended up having some electrical issues. I fixed them all, and I dailied it all through winter. So December, January, and February. And yeah, we're on a little bit of a rough road here, but just I want to take it sort of in the woods for one last time. It's what this car is great at. And then at the end of February, sort of the snow went away, most of it, and I started driving my 1975 XJ6, my normal daily. And honestly, this is the first time I've driven this Range Rover since the end of February. So what happened was, in March, I was contacted by, not the previous owner, but the owner before that, who asked if the car was working well. Now, he sold it because of electrical issues and things, and it never really ran right. And he asked if it was good now. I said, yeah, I've been dailing it, have not had an issue with it. It's been a great car. He asked me if it was for sale. I said, it really isn't, because, well, I really like it. My kids really liked it. Everyone sort of really liked the car. But he was begging and pushing, and finally I said, all right, I sold it. We agreed on the price, which I thought was fair for the car, because it is a low mileage, pretty nice early P38. And I was about to go away on my trip to the States then in April, and we had decided on a deposit, and we decided that he didn't have to pick it up until the end of May, because I actually had a trip planned for Stockholm then. That's where he lived, and I said, you know what, I can drive it there. It'd be a fun sort of last trip in the car. And, well, he just kept not replying, don't hear back, excuses about, oh, I don't have the money at the moment. But I keep thinking, you're the one that asked to buy my car. This one, it wasn't for sale. You asked to buy it. And, well, all these things back and forth. So during this time, I'm not driving it because, in my mind, it's sold. And I don't want to put any more miles on it. I don't want it to break down or anything to happen. The only thing I did was I started it up every now and then and drove it a little bit around my yard and my property, because it was off the road, just to make sure all the brakes are fine and everything. And that was it. During this time, I've mentally prepared myself that the car is gone, that I'm not going to have it. So I didn't want to work on it anymore and finish the last couple of things. It needs the fuel filler flap painted. I have a new one back there. It needs a couple clips for that door. I kind of would like to do the headliner if I keep it. And now if I would drive it now in the summer, it would need the AC charged and probably find a leak and all of that. But I just kept it stored, and finally I realized that, well, he's not going to buy the car because I can't wait. And then I started thinking about it. As much as I like this car and all of that, the reason I bought it were twofold. One, I wanted to use it for towing, to tow a big trailer. But I bought the car transport, the tow truck now. And honestly, that is a cheaper alternative to have than the Range Rover. It gets about the same fuel economy as a Range Rover. And yeah, it means not having to have a trailer. It means not having to have a trailer license here. It's a lot of things. So at the moment, I'm enjoying the tow truck. So that was the plan with it. The other plan was I wanted to sort of do a little bit of off-roading and overlanding. This is the wrong P38 for that. It is way too nice to do that thing. It was much nicer than I thought it would be when I initially bought it. So yeah, I've come to a realization it has to go. So I have found a new buyer for it, actually a good friend of mine. We're going to turn around here. It is it's still not really on the road. I mean, it's MOT'd and inspected everything, but it's not there's no tax on it at the moment, so we're only driving here in the woods. Also, excuse my voice, I have quite a bit of a cold. So a good friend of the channel who you've seen here before, he helps me work on something sometimes, Don. He reached out and actually initially when I bought the car and said, you know what, if you don't like it, I would like to buy it from you. And I ended up really liking the car, and that probably wasn't a thing. And now he knew the whole story and knew I was waiting for that guy and everything. And then we were talking on Messenger one evening, and he said, well, what do you sort of want for it? And I said, well, this is sort of what I want. This is what it wants fixed. The sales for that guy would be for a higher price. The first guy wanted it, but that was then having to fix a couple small items on the car. Don doesn't care about that. He'll fix it himself. So we came up with a price, and well, he's bought it. So I'm going to drive it to his house in the next couple of days. I'm just going to load up the spare tires in the back and a couple of spare parts I have. I sort of wanted to take it out on one last drive before then. We'll pull up over here in a nice scenic spot where we've done before. I'll show you guys around the car, and let's just say I don't think this is going to be my last P38. I do really like the platform. It is such a comfortable, such a nice car. I love the V8 in it. It's just at the moment I don't really have a use for it because I used it in the winter. I have my X-Type, which I'm actually decided to keep because I realized I drive it a lot, and it uses a third of the fuel of this Range Rover. And even though I usually don't really care about fuel, but if I'm driving something in the winter, then that's good. Also, this thing is actually probably a little bit too nice to just winter daily. It's rust free and all of that. It will start rusting at some point. So if it wasn't as nice, if it wasn't as valuable, I mean, it's not worth a ton, but it's worth more than the X-Type and all that. So yeah, that's why it has to go. And the funds need to come in for other projects. We have the pre-HE XJS restoration. I would like to get my XJ12 Coupe on the road at some point. And we also kind of need to get other cars on the channel to sort of swap out content. So for those of you who love P38s, there will be another one. Like, remember, I sold my XJ40. You guys, some people were sad about that. Now I have another one. So I love these. And these, I would say, this is the XJ40 of the Range Rovers. You either love them or hate them. It's sort of the same thing. I think they're brilliant, especially when you go like here and you go a little bit off-road. And I actually already have my eyes on another one, which is pretty rough. But it's rough in a good way, where we could build a fun project with it, a sort of off-roader thing, and it wouldn't ruin the car. But let's switch it on. We'll go outside, show you one last look around, and then we'll take the last drive home. We're actually in the middle of a nature reserve here, which is close to my house. And here it is. It's still such a beautiful car, such a beautiful color, and in really good shape for its age. I love the interior as well. I mean, I'm gonna clean it out a little bit for him before, because it's still has some dirt and things from the winter dealing this. I drove it every single day, took the kids to school, did all of that perfect. It has made me realize a couple things. This car has one thing that my X-Type has as well, which I realized winter dailies needs to have that heated windshield. It is the nicest thing to have when you have a little bit of ice and you just turn on the heat and it goes away. Electrically heated windshield. Engine runs lovely in it. Transmission shifts very nicely. It doesn't actually leak or anything. After sitting for months, I just connect up the battery and it fires up first try. And what else can you say? It's a really nice P38. And I definitely will have another one. Or if I won't have one of these, maybe I'll have a Range Rover Classic. But I'm not done with Range Rovers, definitely. And we still have my wife's L322, and it's been booked in September when we're actually going on a little bit of a trip. It's being booked in to get new rear arches and get some paint job to get a cosmetic restoration on that one. Also one of the reasons for the sale, because we need to put some money into the other Range Rover as well. Let's fire it back up. That's such a good noise. And yes, it loves to beep at me. Yeah, just a bunch of beeping. But yeah, that's a bit of a sad goodbye. I'm not selling it because I don't like it. I'm not selling it because it doesn't work. But it's time, I think. There's a lot of cars on this channel, as you know. I haven't counted, but I know we're in double digits. And sometimes it's time for them to come and go. There will always be a core fleet. The core fleet is definitely, well, most likely my wife's daily. She loves that thing. We're going to keep it as long as we can. Her supercharged L322. My regular daily, my 1975 XJ6. I just keep putting miles on it. Drive it every single day. It needs a little bit of work as well, but it drives every single day. For doing some light towing and like our light horse trailers, things like that, and for going long distances, because of fuel economy, I have my X-Type diesel estate, which is a lovely, lovely car. Which, when I ended up taking it to get its yearly inspection, I realized I've driven more than twice as much as I thought I would in that car. So yeah. And then we have, you know, the XJ12 Coupe, and the XJS Pre-HE, and the Rover P6. That's sort of the core fleet. And then other cars can come and go. Those are ones that I really want to stick around. But we had a fun time. I looked and I put about 2,500 kilometers on this P38, and I'm really happy for it. I've had some good times in the winter. My first sort of attempts at off-roading with a low-range gearbox and everything. A lot of fun first with this car, and it was really good fun in the winter. Who knows? Come first snow, I might terribly miss having a big four-wheel drive vehicle and might go pick one up right away. You don't know. I do have my eyes on one, which has been sitting for a couple of years. It has some problems with it's locked out and like the engine disable thing. It needs the codes and a bunch of other things, but it seems to be a pretty solid car. That could be a fun project as well. And that's also one thing. When a car like this is a little bit almost too nice for the channel, because there's not that much to do on it. The last couple things on it, those videos don't really get a lot of views, and that's something I sadly need to think about as well, because it's not only my personal collection of cars. If I wasn't doing this for videos and things, there's no way I'd have this many cars, and it's not like it really pays for itself, but it gives me a chance to have some content. And well, it's the end of the line for content with this P38. Next couple days, I am going to deliver it to my friend, but I'm picking up a car from him. So you will get a new collection caper pretty soon, which is in the Trading Up series. It's just that we're tying it together with the Range Rover. So the Morris, I'm going to run on the car transporter up to my friend Dan, the painter in Gothenburg, who's bought it. And the reason I'm taking on the car transporter is because I need to take a car back, and it just makes sense. And the next car in the Trading Up series, I think you'll be really surprised at what I've picked up. Alright, back home here. Time to park up the P38, and then next couple days, I will take it to its new home. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Till next time, I'm Adam. This was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.